The observation deck of the Celestial Harmony hummed with the nervous energy of a dozen different species, all pressed against the reinforced viewing ports. Outside, the Void Kraken, a creature of myth that shouldn't exist according to 17 different scientific models, wrapped its crystalline tentacles around the station's outer ring. Sylvie. Chen stood at the main console, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that flickered between red and orange warnings. The young engineer had seen her share of emergencies in her 3 years aboard the station, but nothing quite like this. The Kraken's grip was slowly crushing their primary power conduit, and if it reached the reactor core, 12,000 souls from across the galaxy would become cosmic dust. "Evacuation protocols are failing," announced Zixthar, the Etherian station commander. His crystalline form refracted the emergency lights into prismatic patterns of fear. "The creature has blocked all docking bays. We cannot escape." Ambassador Corvith, a mantis-like threen with 4 arms and the calm demeanor of someone who'd negotiated peace treaties for 2 centuries, clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "Perhaps we could communicate with it?" "Every species has some form of—" "It's not a species," interrupted Dr. Venn, the Kalathi xenobiologist. Her tentacles writhed with anxiety. "It's a force of nature, a cosmic predator. In all recorded history, only 3 stations have encountered void krakens. None survived." Sylvie barely registered their conversation. She was calculating power redistribution, trying to keep life support running even as the kraken's grip tightened. Beside her, Owen Miller, her fellow human engineer, and, she had to admit, occasional source of spectacularly bad ideas, stared at the creature with an expression she'd learned to dread. "Owen," she said slowly, not looking away from her console, "whatever you're thinking, stop thinking it. Do we have any industrial cutting lasers operational?" he asked, his voice carrying that particular tone of reckless determination that had once led him to rewire a plasma conduit during a meteor shower. "The Mark VII in Bay 12 is still functional." But Sylvie finally turned to look at him. "No, absolutely not." "Owen, that thing is the size of a small moon." Owen grinned, the kind of grin that had probably worried his parents since childhood. "Sylvie, hold my beer." He didn't actually have a beer. Station regulations prohibited alcohol during crisis situations, but the phrase had become something of a human idiom among the crew. Sylvie had explained its meaning to curious aliens dozens of times. It was what humans said right before attempting something monumentally stupid and possibly suicidal. "I hate that phrase," Sylvie muttered. But her fingers were already moving across the console, routing emergency power to Bay 12. Because that was the thing about Owen's terrible ideas. About 10% of the time they actually worked. "Commander," Owen called out, already heading toward the exit. "I need someone to manually release the bay doors to vacuum. And I need your fastest shuttle pilot." Zixthar's crystalline face somehow managed to convey absolute bewilderment. "Human Owen, the Void Kraken's hide is impervious to conventional weapons. Our defense systems have been firing at it for the past hour with no effect." "Right, but you've been shooting at its outside." Owen paused at the doorway, his grin widening. "I'm going to shoot it from the inside." The observation deck fell silent except for the ominous creaking of the station's hull. Even the emergency klaxons seemed to quiet in the face of such profound insanity. Ambassador Corvith's mandibles clicked rapidly. "Inside? Young human, perhaps the stress has—" "He's going to let it eat him," Sylvie said flatly, finally understanding. "Owen, you're going to let it eat you. Technically, I'm going to let it eat a shuttle with me inside it." "Big difference." Dr. Venn's tentacles stood straight out in horror. "The digestive cavity of a void kraken is filled with enzymes that dissolve molecular bonds. You would be disintegrated in seconds." "Probably," Owen agreed cheerfully. "But those enzymes have to be stored in something, right? Some kind of organic containment? And if I can cut through that containment with an industrial laser before the enzymes eat through the shuttle's hull?" He shrugged. "Chemical reactions are messy, especially in zero-gravity environments." Sylvie ran the calculations in her head. It was insane. It was suicidal. It violated at least 40 safety protocols and probably several laws of common sense. It might actually work. "Bay 12 will be ready in 3 minutes," she said quietly. "I'm coming with you." "Sylvie, you'll need someone to calibrate the laser while you pilot, and someone to override the safety protocols that will try to stop us from doing this incredibly stupid thing." She met his eyes. Plus, someone needs to make sure you don't accidentally blow up the station while trying to save it. Owen's grin softened into something more genuine. Wouldn't dream of doing this without you. 15 minutes later, Sylvie sat in the co-pilot seat of a mining shuttle that had been hastily retrofitted with the largest industrial cutting laser the station possessed. Through the viewscreen, she could see the Void Kraken's enormous maw opening, revealing rows of crystalline teeth that glittered like stars. All stations, this is Shuttle 7, Owen broadcast. We're Oscar Mike. If this works, you're buying us a drink. If it doesn't, well, it's been fun. Human Owen, Zixthar's voice crackled over the comm. Human Sylvie, your species is either the bravest or most foolish in the galaxy. Why not both? Sylvie replied, strapping herself in. The shuttle launched and Owen flew straight into the creature's mouth. The next 90 seconds were chaos. Darkness, the scrape of crystal against hull, the sizzling hiss of enzymes beginning to eat through their shields. Sylvie fired the laser, cutting deep into organic tissue that screamed in, frequencies that made her teeth ache, then rupture, explosion. The chemical fire of a cosmic predator's digestive system, breaching and igniting in the cold vacuum of space, the void. Kraken convulsed, its tentacles releasing the station as it writhed away into the darkness, trailing glittering ichor. The shuttle tumbled, shields at 2%. Hull breached in 3 places, but they were alive. Shuttle 7 to Celestial Harmony, Owen gasped. Target neutralized. Could use a pickup. And that drink, back on the observation deck. As emergency crews scrambled to retrieve them, Ambassador Corvith turned to Commander Zixthar. I believe, the Threen said slowly, we should update the station safety manual. Agreed, Zixthar replied, still staring at the retreating Kraken. First addendum. When a human suggests something involving the phrase, hold my beer, immediately evacuate to minimum safe distance. Dr. Ven's tentacles quivered. Second addendum. If evacuation is impossible, help them. Because somehow impossibly it might actually work. And thus, the first rule of galactic survival was born, not through careful study or scientific inquiry, but through the terrifying realization that humans, when faced with certain death, didn't calculate odds of survival. They calculated odds of taking the threat with them, and somehow magnificently kept surviving anyway.